financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is income down but tax problems on the rise. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here, but not a pleasure to talk about our uncle.
Some people like our uncle.
Family's family.
Jeffrey Linden.
Good morning, Ken.
You don't mind talking about taxes.
I don't mind talking about taxes.
That's what
do
we're
it every day.
I mean, it's a little bit of a sobering problem, but it is that time of the year. I mean, you know, October 15th is the extension deadline. Even though we didn't have to file until July, the extension deadline is still October.
For now.
Pat Samasco.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Taxes are coming. Okay, so let's talk about the situation. Jeffrey, first of all, I'm seeing an uptick in tax enforcement. Are you seeing it?
Yeah, the IRS is open. Their people mostly are working remote, but people are starting to get letters and they're starting to work through the backlog. What they're doing now is they're not sending just the letters to remind you that you have a tax debt, but they're sending the letters when they're knocking on your door looking for payment.
You know, I just read an article that said that they are becoming extremely aggressive with regard to high-earning wage earners and high net worth individuals for audits.
They're looking at high net worth individuals for audits, mostly in the self-employed or the people who have pass-through corporations like Schedule C corporations or single-member LLCs, because those are historically the areas where people either make mistakes or where people are intentionally trying to screw the IRS, where they try and hide those gains. So, and they know that, so they're looking at that.
I want to rephrase. Those are the areas where people may be a little bit more liberal with the level of deductions that they claim in the context of what the government would like to see being the level of deductions
That's
taken.
exactly what I said.
That's a perfect translation to the words intentionally screw the IRS.
I don't think you can ever intentionally screw the IRS. It's a question about trying to come up with a fair and appropriate measure of the taxes that you pay, supported by legitimate deductions.
Is there general
and with a gloss on it that you want to hope that you don't get audited?
Is there general rules that they follow on if you didn't report this income, you go to jail, certain percentage? If you don't report, you exaggerate your expenses versus your income? Or?
Tax avoidance is not tax evasion. Tax evasion is criminal. Tax avoidance is, you can have a dialogue.
Let me give you a good example of that, of a case that I'm actually handling, which is a criminal case right now. Some people have this idea that overstating deductions is not as bad as not reporting income. So I have a client who overstated deductions over a 4-year period by about $900,000, leaving himself with $30,000 and $40,000 of income each of those 4 years, rather than $250,000 to $300,000 worth of income. And when he came to me after he'd been visited by special agents and it was clearly he's the target of the investigation, he said to me, I didn't think I did anything wrong. I thought I could only get in trouble for not reporting my income. Well, what I had to explain to him is overstating your deductions is the same as not reporting your income when it has the effect of driving your income down. So there used to be a rule that used to say if you didn't report more than 25%, but those don't exist. It's the pig theory. What's your pig theory?
Pigs eat and hogs get slaughtered.
Okay. Being a hog is a very bad thing in the eyes of the Criminal Enforcement Division of the Internal Revenue Service. It's not even good to be a pig.
No.
But being a hog is extremely dangerous.
But little piglets are kind of cute, and so maybe you can get away with your.
So if you're watching, keep that in mind. But let's talk about problems. Unfiled returns.
Huge problem.
Taxes owed, no money to pay.
Less of a problem.
Audit.
Scary.
My spouse screwed me.
Huge problem.
Hate when that happens.
Yep.
Which is the more common of the four?
Oh,
1,
well,
2,
I mean,
3, and 4.
they
The
happen.
spouse screwed me is not limited to tax.
Right. In terms of tax, unfiled returns is probably the most, followed by taxes owed, no money to pay.
Okay. All right, let's talk about unfiled returns.
Don't do that.
It's a big mistake.
Huge mistake.
Why?
Because there's a 5% penalty each month for every month that it's late. So within 5 months, you just added 25% to your tax bill.
Capped at 25%.
Yeah.
So if you owe $10,000, lickety-split, you owe $12,500.
But plus interest on top of that.
Plus
The
interest.
interest keeps going.
Plus interest, and if you don't pay the tax, then you get a penalty on the failure to pay, and the interest tax onto that too. So it multiplies. You quickly get out of hand.
Here, you know what? Here's an interesting question. I get this from people all the time. Well, I don't have all the information to file my tax return on time. The extension that I filed is going to run out no matter what. So what do? I can't get the documents. My former employer is gone. And if I file the tax return is going to be wrong.
And the
No.
dog ate all my receipts.
The tax return is going to be a reasonable estimate. We can get you your W-2s and your 1099s to help you. We can help you estimate expenses or get like an accountant that can do that. We can amend your return if we get better information. But if you don't file, you are going to be penalized.
So if I
you're
file a
wasting
return,
25%.
So if I file a return and it's wrong, but it's my good effort,
Good faith.
Good faith effort.
and so I don't get hit with that 25% penalty for not filing, even though the tax return has errors in it.
Correct.
Well, then you're right. There's no reason not to file a tax return.
It's different. The other reason why people don't file is they owe money and they don't have it, they don't pay, and they think if I don't file the return, they won't know that I owe them the money, I won't get the bill, I'll be in a better position, and then I'll get it caught up soon and file the returns.
This is the IRS. They're going to know.
Well, people
Plain and
don't know. They got their head buried in the sand so far, and they're afraid to tell their spouse that they're in such trouble. And
Let's take a break. We come back, we'll finish up on that and then move on to the other issues.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back to unfiled returns. So rule number one, if you haven't filed them, file them. First of all, if you've got, I can't tell you how many people out there and how many people we see in the office who haven't filed for 5-6 years.
10 years, 15 years.
And here's the common thread of every person who hasn't filed a return for more than 3 years. They are losing a tremendous amount of sleep. They are worried about it. When they close their eyes and they go to bed, they have all these paranoid thoughts. And every single one of them, when they come into the office and we say, let's get the returns filed, we'll estimate if we have to. Once the returns are filed, sleep returns because there's no longer this anxiety of the unknown, the potential criminal, and everything else.
Right.
There's no excuse to let that problem continue, even if you have it now. Going forward, there's no excuse to get into it. Automatically file a return. Don't use the excuse that you don't have the money.
Right.
Failing to pay is not criminal. The penalty is only 0.5% per month, up to a maximum of 25%. But that's 5.5 years before you get there. It's cheaper than credit card interest. Is not paying the non-paying penalty plus the interest is less than credit card interest. So you don't want to get into that situation. The solution is file the returns. What about this one? I haven't filed for several years. Should I file married filing joint, or should I file married filing separate when I know I'm going to have a tax liability?
Yeah, Jeff, what do you do?
Yeah,
well,
Jeff,
Pat,
what do you do?
Well, Pat, that's going to depend. That's where we need to come in and we need to analyze your situation because in general, yes, married filing joint filers pay less tax, but on the other hand, joint tax returns equals joint liability. So your spouse is on the hook for that too. That could impact your home. It could impact other assets. We would want to do an analysis to figure out what's good for you because once you file joint, you can't change that.
You can't go back.
But you can change your returns if you file married filing separately to married filing jointly.
Right, but that's a one-way door.
Example. You've got a married couple. Wife is a wage earner, W-2, has withholding paid in every year. Husband is self-employed. He's in the insurance business. He's gone 4 years. He hasn't filed the returns. He hasn't. They haven't filed their joint return, and he hasn't paid in any estimates. He's going to have a big liability. Wife has no liability if she files married filing separate because she paid in withholding. In that scenario, it's not. It's a no-brainer. You file married filing separate so that the wife doesn't have that liability imposed on her. But you need to analyze it. That's something that you need to get advice for to make sure you do the right thing.
Because there are solutions to getting rid of that tax debt. And maybe the solution exists only as to one of them instead of both of them. Maybe we keep the wife out of it, and we possibly could file a bankruptcy to discharge those tax obligations once we've gotten the returns filed and the time period elapses. Jeff does offers in compromise that eliminate tax obligations all the time.
Now you're jumping into the next topic.
Right.
Taxes are owed, no money to pay. What are your options?
Yeah, Brian.
Well,
Well, bankruptcy.
Like I said, bankruptcy is a fantastic opportunity.
It always comes back to bankruptcy with this guy.
Because
well,
he's
well,
the
hey, if
bankruptcy
it's a
lawyer.
good option.
Happened to be.
He's the bankruptcy lawyer.
Yeah,
That's,
I mean, that's
know.
what I
but
do.
wait, no,
but that's not what I do. That's what we do. We
Right.
find the solution. And what's the best solution? Always the least costly,
Right.
most effective method
That's
to
what
get
I
out of
wanted
debt.
to- That's what I wanted to hear you say.
And that
very-
is the best
very
way to get
proud
rid of
of you.
IRS debt.
But how does bankruptcy work?
So, an income tax obligation can be eliminated and discharged in a bankruptcy if it came due at least 3 years ago, if the tax returns have been filed for at least 2 years, and if you haven't been assessed in the last 8 months. So generally, right now we're looking at tax returns that came due at least 3 years ago. So what would that be? That would be 2016 is the last year that came due at least 3 years ago right now. 2017 came due April of 18, so it'll be dischargeable April of 21, unless you filed an extension. Right. So we look at the liabilities and we determine, well, you know, for somewhere between $1,500 and $5,000, I can wipe out $100,000 worth of tax liabilities. That's a great opportunity.
But I see on TV this thing called the offer and compromise. And they say, you don't need bankruptcy, you can do an offer and compromise.
So that's true. If you
Is
meet
that,
the,
is that
if you
his
meet,
area?
It
That's
is,
my
but
area.
you know what? In order to
There's
do
an
that
overlap,
offer and
though.
compromise, can you have a 401k?
You can, but your offer's going to go up.
Okay. Can you have equity in your home?
If you owe $100,000 in taxes,
Yeah.
and you have $100,000 in your 401k, what happens?
$80,000 of what's in your 401k is credit. The IRS will look at the $80,000, 80% of your 401k and say, we could collect that from you. So your offer is, no matter what other your numbers, your offer is at least $80,000.
And they leave you the excess to
So
pay
you
your
can pay the
taxes.
But
taxes
did
on
you
the
know
early
that
withdrawal.
in a
Oh,
Chapter
Jesus,
7?
that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They leave the extra to pay the tax.
That's
when you
the
take
only-
it out early.
That's the
Yeah.
only reason they
That's
leave the
why
excess.
they leave it there.
Wow,
If you got $100,000, wait.
That IRS is
Next
smart.
question: you have $100,000 of cash in the bank. How much do they take of the $100,000? $97,000. I think they'll let you keep $3.
It's more complicated. They let you keep 1,000, but then your monthly expenses they pour into it too.
So, if you have no money,
But if you have $100,000 in that 401k, and you file a bankruptcy to get rid of your taxes, do you know how much you get to keep of your $100,000 in that 401k?
Oh, I do.
After the
I do.
bankruptcy?
ooh,
All of it.
That's right. All of it.
Did
you
you know
still
that,
get to
Pat?
keep your 401k.
next time you can go.
You get to keep your pension. You get to keep your IRAs. You get to keep a significant chunk of assets
So here-
if you can discharge it in a bankruptcy.
So here's the point. Number one, offer and compromise works also for payroll taxes.
Yes, it
doesn't
does.
work for
does
bankruptcy.
not work for
Correct.
bankruptcy.
Offer and compromise can work when bankruptcy is not the right solution for you.
Very
you
true.
don't meet the 3-year, 2-year, 240-day rule.
Or you file the previous bankruptcy within the statute.
Offer and compromise does have a drawback. You have to stay clean for 5 years in terms of filing your returns on time and paying your tax. Otherwise, even
Right.
when you get the offer
It can all
approved,
come back to
it
haunt
comes
you.
back.
Right.
Take a break. We'll come back. We'll do more on taxes.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We were here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We'll create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Time for announcements. I want to remind you to listen to us for Law and Reality live on the Praise Network. Tuesdays, 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays, 7 o'clock a.m., KISS 105.9, Sundays, 7 o'clock a.m. We have a new contest. Sign up for our fall giveaway. Free $500 Visa gift card grand prize, along with a Law and Reality hat and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. The drawing will be held on November 1st, 2020. To enter the contest, all you have to do is go on the website, enter your name on the link in the window that pops up, and you're entered. And we have a webinar coming up on Wednesday, October 14th, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Take action to improve your debt situation. We're going to go through all the methods that we use to eliminate debt. Solutions using bankruptcy, solutions outside of bankruptcy. You have to remember, your goal is to preserve your future income for you and your family, not let your future income go to pay past debts. If you do that, you're just letting yourself fall further behind. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Then we have a seminar coming up on Wednesday, a webinar coming up on Wednesday, November 4th on estate planning, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. No estate plan, what are you thinking? You got to have the essential estate plan documents. You need to have the documents while you're living, which is the durable power of attorney and the healthcare advocate, and you need the documents to take care of your demise. That's your will and your revocable living trust. We're going to go through the probate process, how you avoid probate, how probate works in case you have to go through it. We will talk about the big mistakes people make in addressing estate planning issues so that you can avoid those mistakes. Attendees get a gold certificate off of the cost, $300 off the cost of an estate plan. To sign up for the seminars, you want to call 888-235-HELP or go to thavgross.com and sign up that way, or lawandreality.com. Also remember, you can come in for a free consultation, either a teleconference, video conference, or in-office live conference with social distancing. Just come on in, call the office, 888-235-HELP, or go online at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com, and you can request a free consult. Debt issues with Brian, tax issues with Jeff, estate planning issues with Brian, elder law issues with Pat Samasco, business issues with myself, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Criminal law issues also with Scott Weinberg. You want to sign up at lawandreality.com, thavgross.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Brand new one on resolving tax problems by Jeff Linden and myself, how to save your home from foreclosure, business formation, loans and grants for small business in Michigan, and Pat Samasco's Retiree's Guide to Social Security. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
All right, so we talked about bankruptcy. I don't have money to pay. We talked about bankruptcy. We talked about offering compromise.
Wait, I do want to make one more thing about bankruptcy before you go. It's not just Chapter 7 bankruptcy that deals with taxes. It's also Chapter 13 bankruptcy can deal with taxes. Restructuring it, reorganizing it, paying what you have to pay back, and paying as little as 0 cents on the dollar to everybody else.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a show on tax problems using the bankruptcy rules. Exclusive, covering that topic.
Not today.
Not today.
All right, move on.
All right, other alternatives.
We can do payment plans, standard payment plans. We can do payment plans based on your ability to pay. We can get you currently not collectible status.
I would like that. Can I please get currently not collectible?
No.
How do you know?
I had a 50-50 shot.
Okay.
No.
So what is currently not collectible?
Currently not collectible is that the IRS recognizes
that
your expense structure is more than your income, and they're going to leave you alone. That you can't afford to pay the tax back right now.
So I owe $30,000 in taxes.
Yes.
Even though I could get a 6 or 7 year payment plan on that, I can't afford to make the payment.
Right.
You can go in there and apply for CNC status.
Yes.
And then I don't have to pay anything?
No, they leave you alone for up to 2 years, and then they'll reevaluate. So what will happen is you'll stay in CNC status unless you have an event that kicks your income up. If you file your return and you have you made $50,000 more this year than last year. The IRS is going to see that. They're going to take you out of C&C, but they'll reevaluate it. So if there's a reason why you should stay there, but at that point, then we evaluate a payment plan or something else.
All right, let me get through another one. There's a thing called innocent spouse. I don't want to go into it in depth, but just give me the cursory. What does that do? That's when we started the show. I said my spouse screwed me.
Right.
How does innocent spouse work?
Innocent spouse is where you're married, but you've now separated or getting a divorce. The one spouse was in charge, like the tax partner. They were the ones who were doing all of it. You didn't have anything to do with it. They maybe asked you to sign a return, that's it. They didn't pay the taxes. They didn't do everything. You're now liable for it. Now you're apart, and you're being held liable for what the other person did. There's a system to say, that's fine, we won't hold you responsible.
It's a procedure that we follow that you can pursue, and there's also an appeal process to go if they deny it. It happens to be a good strategy to use that a lot of people are not aware about it.
Right.
Not aware of it. Audits. Okay, two types of audits. You can get a computer audit where they picked up 1099s or reported to the government and you're not showing the income and they're inquiring about it, and you have to respond in writing on those issues. And you also have the nauseous audit.
Right.
The nauseous audit is the one where you get the letter that's addressed to you that says you are being audited. Please compile these records and contact the person designated on the letter.
Can I say one thing? You will never get a phone call from the IRS saying you owe money, because that's the phone scam going on right now.
They will never do that.
Never, ever, ever.
They will never do that. They'll send you certified mail.
Now you can poop your pants when you get the letter, but don't worry about it.
But when you get the fake call, you need to know to just hang up.
Yes.
I don't just hang up. I start swearing at the person.
Because you like engaging.
Yes. Yes.
So do I.
First of all, I say, oh my God, I owe you money. Can I pay you today? And then I start swearing at them. And then and I say to them, your mother would be ashamed of you. And you know what they usually do?
Hang up.
Swear at me and hang up.
Oh, okay.
You give it, you can receive it. All right, but they had it coming. So you get it. So in an audit, how do you deal with an audit? There's two things. If you have a perfectly clean return and all of your charitable deductions you have receipts for, and everything you did you have tied up in little receipts and support everything, you can go in there and provide them that information, and the audit should go okay.
Right.
But you also have the audit where you're self-employed and you've claimed a lot of expenses and repairs and maintenance and office expense, supplies, promotion, and things that are not well documented. You need help in that situation.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're kind of running out of time. I kind of want to do a real quick thing, revisit some of these issues. If I haven't filed for several years, what should I do?
File.
Call Jeff.
I thought we were playing the newlywed
If you received a wage levy, what should you do? Call Jeff. If you receive a notice that I'm being audited, call Jeff. If you receive a summons to appear, which is not a good thing.
Oh wait, let me find that one.
Call Jeff. If you have a major payroll tax issue, call Jeff. If you get an audit letter, call Jeff. If you want to file bankruptcy, call Brian. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.